You don't reach for your phone because you're bored. You reach for it because you can't stand the pause. That's the thing no one names. It's not laziness. It's not addiction in the clinical sense. It's an intolerance for the gap, that small, quiet space between one thing and the next, that has become almost unbearable in modern life. And so the hand moves before the mind decides. Every time. The samurai had a word for this. Ma. Translated literally, it means gap or interval. The pause between one movement and the next. But in Japanese tradition, ma is not empty. It is the space where awareness lives. A piece of music is shaped as much by its silences as its notes. A sword strike is defined as much by what precedes it as by the cut itself. The samurai understood that if you cannot be still in the interval, you cannot be present in the action. Your phone fills every ma before it can teach you anything. The sword master Yagyu Munenori, who taught swordsmanship to the shoguns of Edo, Japan, wrote in his teachings about what he called the mind that tarries, the mind that lands on something and cannot leave. A flicker of discomfort, a moment of waiting, and the untrained mind sticks there, seeking escape. According to his teaching, this is not a character flaw. It is simply an untrained mind. And what is untrained can be practiced. The practice is not to fight the impulse. Fighting gives it weight. The practice is to stay in the gap for one breath before acting. That one breath is where choice lives. You feel the pull toward the phone, and you pause. You notice the discomfort without moving through it. In that pause, something subtle shifts. You remember that you are the one choosing. This is the principle of ma applied to daily life, not as discipline in the harsh sense, but as a kind of fidelity to the present moment, to yourself, to what you were doing before the hand moved. There is also the matter of what you are really seeking. Most people who struggle with their phone are not seeking distraction. They are seeking transition, a way to shift gears after a long meeting, a way to fill the silence that feels uncomfortable after a hard conversation, a way to feel less alone at 10 p.m. The phone works for this. It works quickly, but it does not resolve the underlying need. It only delays it. The Japanese approach would say, find what you are actually seeking and meet that need directly. The pause after work is real. The need for rest is real. The question is whether you meet it with awareness or with automatic reach. Here is what changes when you practice this. The gaps stop feeling like threats. A quiet moment waiting in line becomes a moment of actual rest. A pause in conversation becomes presence rather than anxiety. The phone loses its urgency not because you fought it, but because the discomfort you were escaping no longer needs escaping. That is the reveal, and it matters. The phone is not the problem. The intolerance for stillness is. Fix the relationship with the gap, and the compulsion fades on its own. Not through willpower, but through practice. The path that was hidden by noise becomes visible again in the silence. 1. The next time you feel the impulse to reach for your phone, pause for 2 full breaths before acting. That is the whole practice. Do it once, today. 2. Choose one moment each day, morning coffee, a walk, a meal, and move through it without the phone, not as punishment, as an experiment in what the gap actually feels like when you stay in it. 3. When you do use your phone, ask yourself first, what am I looking for right now? Name it. Then decide if the phone will actually give you that. The discomfort you're avoiding in those quiet moments is not danger. It is the feeling of being present. And presence is where your actual life is. Write in the comments, I will stay in the gap. Thank you for being here and for choosing to live with purpose.